They're finally here. The top 3 hypercars in the entire world are finally all together in Forza Motorsport 6. And I've been waiting so long to do this. Welcome to the ultimate hypercar showdown. LaFerrari versus McLaren P1 versus Porsche 918 Spyder at Virginia International Raceway in Forza Motorsport 6. So the first car we're going to be looking at is the Porsche 918 Spyder. Now the Porsche 918 Spyder is obviously part of the brand new Porsche expansion pack, and when you drive the 918, you get a sense of stability. This is the most stable car of the 3. It's very powerful. The all-wheel drive helps it get off the line by far the quickest, and you always feel a lot of confidence with this car, except for it has a little bit of corner entry understeer, but you guys will see that in the lap as we go on. Now, as I said previously, the 918 does suffer a little bit from some corner entry understeer, but that is easily cured with lift-off oversteer. Now, this car has a lot of lift-off oversteer, a big tendency towards it. As you can see, just braking straight into the corner and the back end comes around. But you can counteract that with the pull from the front end of the all-wheel drive system. And like I said, it's very stable. It feels very stable. There's not a lot of moving around in the suspension. You don't feel like this car wants to get away from you at all, except for if you lift off a little too hard going into a corner. Then it does want to get away from you. But the things that you normally notice when driving this car, aside from the stability, are first of all, the sheer acceleration is really mind-blowing, and how controlled and composed it is under that acceleration. Also, the brakes themselves are extremely powerful, absolutely insane brakes. When you pull out of a corner onto a straightaway, the acceleration, you can get on the throttle in this car way sooner than the other two. If you know exactly where to get on the throttle, you can get on it in this car and be way out of a corner, way ahead of the other two. This thing really excels at corner exit. Corner entry, it's not exactly the best, but corner exit is way up there. And the sound of this car is really interesting, too. It's a lot more of a kind of a sing than a scream, if you guys get what I mean. And I think that goes in line with the fact that this is the most stable car. It's the most composed. It's the most controlled. It's the most sophisticated, if you will. But you keep finding these subtle hints that Porsche wanted this car to be, like I said, very controlled, very composed, extremely fast, but not exactly in an insanely scary, overbearing kind of way. And you can see we're just all-wheel sliding this thing around the corners, no problem at all. But where this thing really shines is when you drive it fast. And that's what you guys are going to see now, is the fast lap. Next up is the McLaren P1. Now, the McLaren P1 is one of my personal favorite cars of this entire hypercar generation. The P1, I think, embodies almost everything that you could have in a hypercar. It has so many different pieces of technology, so many technical advancements made just for this car, and does such a great job of bringing the entire hypercar philosophy together in one machine. It has the looks, it has the engine, it has the technology, it has pretty much everything that you would expect from a modern hypercar. But can it outdo the 918 and the LaFerrari on the track? Let's find out. And now we come to the LaFerrari. Now, the LaFerrari is by far the most raw car of the three. It's the most aggressive car of the three. It's the most aggressively styled and the most aggressively performing. And in fact, it is the most performance dedicated, I think, of the three. Every single thing in this car is 100% directed to the overall performance and the overall driver involvement and the sheer speed that you get out of this car. The engine is absolutely incredible. That V12 just screams to redline, and I think that this has a real chance of being ridiculously fast around Virginia International Raceway. Now, we both know that it's going to be ridiculously fast, but the question is it faster than the others? So what results can we draw from this test? Well, the LaFerrari, to me, is the most playful. It's the most fun. The Porsche was the fastest by just a tiny little margin, and it was also the most controlled and the most composed. However, I think the reason why it was able to edge out the McLaren and the Ferrari was its insane corner exit speed. The speed at which that 918 can pull out of corners is absolutely ridiculous. And the McLaren is just so fast. It's so fast. And the McLaren feels very race car. The McLaren has a really, oh man, it's just such a race car feel to it. Whereas the LaFerrari feels like a really, really fast, really playful hypercar, supercar. The McLaren definitely has more of that race car feel to it. And the Porsche, so precise, so easy to drive, actually. And all around, just these three cars, I don't think you could have one. I mean, if we base it off of time, sure, the 918 won this test. But I feel like they all have their own unique personalities. And in the end, you really have to say, well, I have the LaFerrari for this reason, but I have the Porsche for this reason, and I have the 918 for, the McLaren for that reason. So, in the end, it's it comes down very much to a personal choice type thing, but I think all these cars are incredible. I think they're all absolutely amazing, and I think that the more I practice with each of these cars, the faster I'll get. VIR is an amazing track. I want to thank Turn 10 for putting VIR into the game. I've been wanting VIR for a long, long time. Who knows? It might actually be on the list to drive my actual car at VIR this year. But if you guys did enjoy this test and this video, don't forget to click that like button. Tell me in the comment section down below what you guys thought of it. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more. And I will see all of you awesome people in the next one. Talk to you guys later. Tomcat out.